everyone, it's Dina. I'm here today with an unboxing and a short tutorial from the Gemstones Beads of the Month clubs. So these are the clubs that I purchase on a monthly basis as well as get as a gift in exchange for videos from Adornable Elements. So we'll go through each one of these boxes and we'll get a little bit more detail in just a moment. So meet me back. We'll go through the Fire Polished Beads of the Month club first. So if you've signed up with my discount code DINA10 and you get the same beads, then you can always pause this video at this moment and then come back to it once you've received your package if you want to be surprised. And if not, you can come back with me in just a moment and we'll go through each one of these individually, and then we will do a short tutorial, more than likely airing like I usually do on my unboxing tutorials. So meet me back in a second and we'll start working on these. And here is the Fire Polished Beads of the Month Club for April 2025 that I've received. It's called City Sunrise. Now, like I said in the previous clip, if this is what you have received, if you have used my discount code DINA10, this is what you'll end up getting. Now, sometimes the clubs actually do sell out and they don't have enough to be able to ship out to everyone that uses the same discount code for me. And that could be the case every once in a while type thing, but they do everything they can to be able to send out the same type of beads, so that way any tutorials that I produce, you would be able to follow along with me. So we'll go through each one of these beads. So we've got, this one is container number 1 called Crystal Copper Rainbow Cathedral Dome. These are 8 millimeters. So they're actually flat on one side and then domed on the other side. So you have, see if you can see it that way. There you go. So you can see that it's got a flat side that's on the right side over here, and then a dome side that's on the left side over here. So they're actually pretty neat looking beads, and then you've got the hole that goes down the center. Very pretty, very unique type of bead. Container number 2 is Chalk Red Luster Hill Beads, and these are kind of interesting. They're actually flat on one side also, and then they're domed on the other side. So when you pick one up, you've got the flat side on the left now, and then the dome side is on the right that I'm pinching right now. And then the hole goes through the center of the bead. So those are pretty neat. I haven't seen these type of beads before. So it's pretty cool. Then container number 3 is Metallic Blooming Dahlia Round. And these are 3 millimeter check fire polishes. So a very good staple to have. You end up getting 150 of those. Forgot to say that you got 15 of the Chalk Red Luster Hill beads, and then of the dome beads you get 25 of those. And these are all the single rotating beads of the month. They also have a double rotating beads of the month, so if you get the double version, then you would get twice as much beads as what I receive. So this is the container number 4. It is the Hurricane Badlands Matte Round. And these are 4 millimeters. There again, another very good staple to have, whether you do bead weaving or bead stringing. Always a good thing to have 4 and 3 millimeter fire polished beads. They end up being really good spacers and work out really well in bracelets. So number 5 is Gold Marbled Jet Round Beads, and these are 6 millimeters. So there again, another good staple to have. Just a 6 millimeter bead. Always comes in handy. Container, I've lost my count, number 6 is Transparent Topaz Pink Luster Rondelles. These are in 3 by 6 millimeter, and these are really pretty. They are, so you can see a little bit of pink in that, and this bead right over here, and then you can see some of the brown for the topaz and everything, and some of the others. And these are really pretty. These are really nice type beads. I like these. I'm probably going to end up using these, as well as I have an idea for these, the dome beads, and the 3 millimeters to potentially make a bracelet. So I'll see if that actually comes to fruition, because I'll have at least one video coming out with these guys here in another week or so. And container number 7 is Jet Renaissance Cut 6 millimeter beads. So these are 6mm beads again. Now this is jet, so I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see the detailing on this. But on the edge of the bead, here at the top, it looks like there is some detailing on the bead itself. It's like right around the hole. It's kind of like a cathedral bead, where the cathedral beads have a little bit of detailing on either side right next to the hole, and then you've got like the fire polish or the cut on the side of the bead. So those are kind of neat. Those are different. I haven't seen those type of beads yet either. And then container number 8, and this one is jet bronze antique style triangle beads, and these are 8mm. And you get 10 of these. So these are really pretty. They're like a little triangle type bead that's been kind of like a table cut version of it. So you've got a black dot right there, but then you've got the antique bronze color along the side of the bead, and the hole goes down the center. So that is the first of the containers that we'll open. So meet me back and we'll open up the next one. This is the Gemstones beads of the month that I got this month. This is Botswana Agate. So on the gemstone beads of the month, you always get 6 different types of gemstones in this package that you get. So in the first one we get a faceted coin, which is 6mm. And Botswana agate is really, really pretty. You see all sorts of striations, just like on a lot of different agates. And they range from all sorts of different colors, from cream colors to more of a grayish color. You get some browns and some dark grays in the middle of it. That one's pretty cool right there. You got the different colors of beads in that, or different colors in that one bead right there. So I love agates. And they always come in really nice, different color schemes and different types and shapes and striations and everything. The second one we get on this one is a 4mm faceted round. So here again you get all the different types of colors. You see some with really some neat little striations on it. So really, really neat. I really like this type of stone. The third one is an oval, which is an 8x10mm. And these are downright pretty. You flip over some of these guys and you can see that the striations are slightly different on either side. And these are ranging from the cream color, and it has a little bit of red in it. This one's like a really dark brown color here, but then you flip it over and you get more of the gray on the other side. So these are really, really pretty. And then container number 4, we get 8mm faceted star cut beads, which these are similar to the English cut. And then these are just the same as the other ones, where you can see the different striations and a lot of the different beads. And then you just move it around a little bit, and then you can see how it just changes with the differences and shifting the bead around. So there again, really love it. Then we get 6mm rounds. Good staple to always have. Love to roll around in this nice little itty bitty small triangle dish. So you can see all the different colors and stripes and everything. And then the last thing we get is a bag of 14 grams of chips, and they range between 6 and 9mm. So this is a whole lot of chips in this one little container. So as I'm moving it around, you can see all the different colors and the different types and everything there again. So what I'll probably end up doing with our tutorial at the end, after we go through the findings pack, I'll probably make a memory wire bracelet with the chips and then some beads that I have here at the house. So if you want to follow along with me, which you can, even if you don't have this specific type of agate, the beads that I'm going to be using outside of chips are things that a lot of people have at home. The 4mm druks and 4mm fire polishes and everything. So you can still follow along with me if you have some chips and some 4mm beads. So stay tuned, and this next little section we'll go through the findings pack, and then we'll do that little memory wire bracelet at the end. Alright, so here is your companion findings pack. And this is the copper assortment. So all the colors, or all the items in this one, are going to be copper colored. So the first thing that we're looking at is 3.8mm cable chain. So it's your typical cable chain. You get about 36 inches of this. Always something really good to have on hand. Next one you get is an ice pick leaf bail. And then when you look at it on the side right here, there's a little leaf accent on the side of the ice pick. So you get 2 of those. Then you get a pair of clip-on earrings. And these are always nice to have because you can actually screw these on and make it looser or tighter depending on the thickness of your earlobe and the liking of how you like to have your earrings sit. Very versatile to have these on hand, especially if you sell your items at events and everything. And you have earrings that you can actually switch out to clip-on earrings. I've actually sold a couple of pair of earrings because I was able to switch those out to clip-ons. So that helps out greatly. And then you have 2 sets of 3-strand filigree box clasps. So this is what they look like. And then it's your typical box clasp. So you just pull that open and then it clips back closed. Like that. So you got 3 strands on both sides. Also something really nice to have. Then you have a fancy pendant loop. So this is a loop that you can use in 2 different ways. You've got the loop going, the hole going up here on the top if you want to use it in that direction. So you can attach it with like a jump ring or something else to like a necklace or something like that if you want to attach it in this direction. And you can also attach it in this direction as well. I'll have to pick it up and hold it because it's not wanting to sit straight. But you can attach it in this direction where you can string on either rope or leather or something like that and then use this as your jump ring attachment to attach whatever pendant you want to have on your necklace. So something very neat to have. You get 2 pairs of smooth ear hooks with backings. So these are just your typical shepherd's hook, fish hook, French hook. There's like or French ear wire. There's all sorts of different names. I never know which one's the right name to use. So I usually interchange those quite a bit. But you get 2 pairs of those and you get the little ear nuts to go along with it. Then you get 6 flower head pins. So you get your typical head pin. These look like they're about a 2 or 3 inch. Let's see, 1, 2, yeah, 2.5 to 3 inch, something like that. And then that's what the end of the head pin looks like. Just like a little cute little flower at the end. So you get 6 of those. You get some jump rings. These are 5mm jump rings, and they kind of look oval to me. So they may be 5mm by maybe 4mm, something like that, but they look a little oval to me. You get 10 of those, and then you get 1 more clasp, and it's a rope S-hook. So you attach on the 2 jump rings here on the side, and then one of those jump rings will come off, and that's how you get on and off either your necklace or your bracelet. So that's the companion pack. So meet me back in just a moment, and then we will start the short little tutorial where we will use memory wire and the gemstone chips. Meet you back in a second. Alright, so here is your supply list for your memory wire bracelet that we're going to make today. And like I said before, if you have anything like any other type of chips, all you have to do is just go through your stash and see if you can find 1 or 2 different colors of 4mm beads. I have a 4mm druk here and a 4mm fire polish, and then a couple of different types of seed beads. I have 8/0s and 11/0s sitting here. So you don't have to use the Botswana Agate that I got this month. You can always use something else, like if you have amethyst at home or really any type of chip bead, you can still follow along. Just go through your stash and see what you can find as far as the other beads. So we're going to need our memory wire as well. Then the chips, whatever type of chips that you want to use. Like I said, I have 4mm druks. These are in the topaz color. This is a 4mm fire polish. This one is smoky metallic ice. Then I've got 2 different sizes of Miyuki seed beads. I've got 8Os that are in the, what is this? Matte Opaque Cream, I believe. Yeah, Matte Opaque Cream. Miyuki's number is 2021. And then the 15 O's, which I thought I got 11 O's. Apparently I got 15 O's out. But these are 15 O's, and they are in the light smoky pewter color. And they're Duracoat galvanized light smoky pewter, and that number is 4221. So if you want to get out some supplies and follow along with me and do the same type of pattern but with your own set of beads, then go ahead and do so. I will try to put down in the description box if I can find these 2 different colors, these exact colors. I'll put it down in the description box and let you know if I'm able to find them, so that way if you want to, you can go and purchase them as well. So meet you back in a second and we'll start the memory wire. Alright, so the first step that we're going to do is we're going to get our memory wire ready to be worked on. Now I typically like to work on the whole spool of whatever's sitting here. Now if you have like a huge amount, like you can get, you know, spools of wire, memory wire that are really, really large, then this type of, you may want to cut some of it off. You may not want to work with that much. But I typically just buy the little small packages that have, you know, 10 to 20 different loops and everything with it. So what I like to do is go ahead and just work on the wire itself. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to curl up one of the sides, one of the ends, so that way it acts as my stop bead. You can either do this if you like, but sometimes this can be kind of hard for those that have dexterity issues, or if you have issues gripping onto certain things, turning, because this is very hard to turn sometimes, things like that, you know, problems with your wrist and things like that. This may not be the best type of option for you. If that's the case, they do sell different types of ends that you can put on the memory wire that you can glue an end on, that it just basically looks like another bead. And it gives it a very nice polished finish. I just typically don't use them, only because a lot of my glue, no matter what type of glue I use, I always make a mess out of it. So this is why I do this route instead. So I have a 6-step bell making pliers. I usually use the second step right here. This is the smallest, so I use the second smallest step. I'm going to put the memory wire in between the 2 pliers and make sure that I can't feel the memory wire on the other end with my finger. And then I just roll inwards. And that's how I get my memory wire to stay. Now I continue to roll until the end of the memory wire is sticking up. You want the end of the memory wire to stick up, so that way when you're wearing it, it doesn't scratch you when you're on your wrist or on your hands when you're wearing it. So now that part's set and done. So now I'm going to spread it out and then start working on the first round of beads. Now I'm going to do 1 complete round, so my start is up here, so I'm going to try to do 1 complete round of this particular pattern, and then the second row is going to be a different pattern, then the third row is going to be the same as this first one. So I'll just do the 2 clips and then I'll come back and show you what the end result is. So for the first pattern, we're going to start off with just our 4mm druks, the fire polish, and then our 2 sets of seed beads. We're going to put the chips off to the side because the chips will be in the middle part. So for this, I always like to start off with a bigger bead. I don't like to start with a seed bead because sometimes the seed beads can get caught up in the loop that you just created down here at the bottom. And sometimes those seed beads will work their way out. And then you'll lose that seed bead, which, you know, in the scheme of the things, you know, a seed bead is really not that expensive. It's not that bad of a thing that if you lose 1 bead, it's not going to be a big issue. However, it'll make the rest of your bracelet a little bit looser. So it could potentially mess up the design in the long run. So I usually start off with one of the bigger beads just to keep that from happening. So I have the 4mm fire polish. I'm doing a 15-0. If I can get one on the thing, and then I'm doing a druk, then a 15, and I'll show you this just in a minute, just in case you can't see it, and then I'm picking it up at 8, a 15, a druk, a 15, and a fire polish. Alright, so that is our pattern. We have fire polish, 15, druk, 15, 8, 15, fire polish, 15, nope, druk, 15, fire polish. I knew I was going to mess that up. So that's your pattern that right there. Let me see if I can get it a little bit closer to you so that way you can see it a little bit better. So go ahead and pause that now if you need to get the pattern. So that's all I'm going to do for the rest of the bracelet, of this round of the bracelet. And then the next bead I'll end up putting on is going to be a seed bead. So I'll put a 15, then a druk, and then a 15, and so on and so forth. So basically the 4mm fire polishes are going to be basically either the stop or the ending point. So go ahead and complete this pattern all the way through until you have one complete turn. When I'm talking about one complete turn, you want to make sure that here's my start right here, the start of the memory wire. I want to go at least slightly past the start of the memory wire, so that way you have one complete turn. And then meet me back, and then I'll show you that middle portion of it. And the middle portion, like we said, is going to be the gemstones. So go ahead and complete this, and I'll see you in a second. Alright, so I've got my first loop finished, and I ended up using 11 8/0s. So you can calculate it that way if you like, and then I just made sure that I started with the fire polish, and then I ended with the fire polish. So I did 11 complete little rounds, and then just ended with the fire polish. Alright, so this middle section is going to be just the 15s in the gemstones, so whatever chips that you have and whatever 15s you have out. That's going to be this middle section. And then it's going to be quite simple. I'm just going to make it nice and simple and quick because it's getting late here and I would like to go to bed soon. So I'm going to do a 15, if I can get one on the memory wire. Sometimes with the Duracoat coating, sometimes it's kind of thick and they don't always fit on the memory wire. And then I'm going to pick up a chip bead and just go straight through the chip bead. And then a 15 and a chip, and so on and so forth. Now the biggest things with the chips is that some of the chips are going to be ones that you're probably not going to want to use. See, that one still looks like it's fine. Some of these chips have sections where the holes are extremely, this one's a good one. The holes are extremely close to the edge of the chip, and you may not want to put that on a bracelet. That might be more suitable for like a necklace or something else that may not get as much wear and tear, or maybe a pair of earrings or something like that. So something like that you may not want to use. You may want to put that one aside. But other than that, just pick up a gemstone chip and then put a 15 on afterwards, and then you'll do the same thing. Now your counts are going to be completely different than my counts because each chip is a different size, a different thickness and everything. So I couldn't actually tell you how much to actually put on because your count's going to be different. But that's all you do. You just put a 15 and then a chip, 15 and chip, and complete until you have at least one loop past, or one complete loop, and then go slightly past it. Once you're done with that, then go back and rewind if you need to, but go back and do the same type of pattern that we did down here in the bottom. So remember, I did 11 of the 8/0s, so I'm going to do 11 more rotations of that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to cut off the memory wire and how to finish off after that. So you will see me back in a second, and it'll be a few minutes from me, and that way we'll see what the bracelet's going to look like. See you back. So here is the bracelet completed after I've done a whole round of the gemstone chips, and then I went back and I did the same pattern that I did at the very beginning and after the chips itself. So like I said earlier, it's going to be hard to tell exactly how many chips you're going to need to use in your project because your chips may be a different length or a different width than mine. And I've actually put up my chips already, but I only have like maybe 6 or 7 chips left over. of ones that I wasn't able to use for one reason or another. So it ended up working just about perfect. I got about just a full round of the memory wire done with it, and just a little extra on the side. So I'm holding it kind of tight right here because I have all the beads squished down. So that's the next thing that you'll have to do, is make sure that you have all your beads down to the end of the memory wire where we started at and everything. Make sure there's not any huge gaps. If you have small amounts of gaps, that's probably not going to be that big of an issue. You just don't want something that's a huge gap, because then your beads are going to be moving around a whole lot. Unless that's your intention. If you want that, then that's great. Just keep it then. So what do you do now when we need to cut off the memory wire? So I'm holding the beads tight down in my finger right here, and I'm using the width of my finger as a gauge as to how much that I need to cut off. So I'm getting my memory wire cutters. Must use the memory wire cutters. And then I'm just leaning the cutters up against the side of my finger like that. And then I'm going to use the width of my finger plus the width, this little small width of the wire cutters. And then that's where I'm going to cut off. Put that off to the side. And then we're going to use our bell making pliers again and create another loop like we did at the beginning. So then just twist it around until that comes up to the top, just like that, so it doesn't bother you as much. And if you want to, you can always twist backwards just a little bit to try to make it make the wire more nicer looking at the end. But other than that, you now have a completed bracelet. So this is a very, very nice color scheme for those that like to wear neutral colors, or if you have like a dress or a suit or something like that that you're wearing, and it's like a monotone color, like a black color or something like that, then this gives you a little extra color, but it's not too flamboyant. It's not like, hello, I have pink in front of you, or something like that. So it's a very good option because of the grays and the browns and everything. So it's very pretty. I love how this turned out. So that is our little bracelet tutorial. So here are the Beads of the Month clubs that I received in April 2025. The Gemstone Beads of the Month, the companion pack that is in addition to buying the clubs that you can get, and then the one that I'm gifted on a monthly basis. So I will come back in a future video with at least one video, if not more, depending on time limits and everything for this month, and show another video tutorial on using these guys. It'll probably most likely be a bead weaving tutorial, so stay tuned for that. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button, as well as go down to the description down below to look for my coupon code DENA10, that's DENA10, to be able to get 10% off your first month's purchase through Beads of the Month clubs and Adornable Elements. Thanks again, everyone. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.